What is up, everybody, and welcome back to Double T Gaming. I know it has been a long time since I have posted a video, and I am sorry about that, but we have bigger news than what I've been doing over the last few months, and that is World of Warcraft Classic. If you don't know, or if you've been living under a rock, Classic WoW will officially be released August 27th worldwide, but I mean August 26th for the US really. So boys, we are in the end game now. And with this announcement also comes the Classic Beta, which released on the 15th of May, and they will be doing several waves of beta invites in order to get more and more people in. This beta lasts from level 1 until 30. And on top of this, they will also be holding stress tests from now until the release date in order to try and stretch that server as much as possible in order to create the smoothest launch possible. The kicker with this, however, is that you need to have an active WoW sub to even get invited for the beta, which kinda sucks, because I haven't been subbed to WoW in months, so I probably will not be showing any beta gameplay on the channel. And for now, it only seems as if players who have played since 2004 or some big name streamer are the ones getting the first couple waves of beta invites anyway. But with all of this comes a bit more technical news regarding Classic WoW, and that is something that Blizzard has called layering. Now, if you haven't seen the Tips Out interview with a couple of the WoW Classic developers, you can go check that out for the whole thing. But the main thing I want to keen in on is this thing called layering, which Blizzard is somewhat replacing sharding with. Now, to back it up, if you don't know what sharding is, it's something that I believe was introduced in Wrath of the Lich King, where basically you and another player could be at the same spot in the world at the same time, but you wouldn't see each other, because you are on a different shard of the server. It's weird. And I remember this first being really used while questing in Northrend and Wrath, because as you completed more quests in a zone, the quest hubs would change, and you wouldn't be able to see someone who hasn't done the same quest as you, because in their world, their hub hasn't changed yet. And Blizzard eventually turned this mechanic into a way to control server stress and population as they introduced cross-realm zones. This idea is something that was met with an overwhelming negative response when it came to the development of Classic. Everyone was asking, is sharding going to be in this game? People felt as if this would ruin the community, the thing that Classic is probably most hailed for, and that it wouldn't lead to that authentic vanilla experience. And for the most part, those people were right. Sharding in Classic would take away some of the community aspect of the game, and Blizzard understood this. So instead of sharding, they are introducing something called layering, which in all purposes is just sharding, but on a much bigger scale. So essentially it goes like this. Say you have a player named Billy logging in at 12 p.m. Billy will be put in layer 1, which is pretty much at its capacity for players. Now we have Johnny, who logs in at 2 p.m. He is then put in layer 2. Billy and Johnny are both level 13, they are both in Sentinel Hill at the same time, but they will not see each other, because they are in different layers of the server. Now you'll probably say that's the exact same thing as sharding. I mean, it's a little bit different though. With sharding, when you enter a new zone, you enter a different shard than where you were before, based on population numbers and all that technical crap or whatever. But with layering, you won't see that phasing happen. The entire world will be on the same layer with you no matter where you are in Azeroth. And Blizzard has stated this is based really around login times and population number for each layer. Now it is possible to transfer it to another layer, similar to how you transfer it to another shard in today's game, and that is being simply invited to another layer by a friend. Now, the most important thing that we all need to remember that I think a lot of people are forgetting is that they have stated in this Tips Out interview, that this will only be a factor during the launch phase of Classic. After a few weeks when the hype dies down, the honeymoon and nostalgia players have had their fill, they stated that in the interview it will be disabled. And honestly, I don't really see much of a problem with this. If anyone has ever been a part of a private server vanilla launch, they will know how ridiculous the first 10 levels or so are. It takes you hours to get out of the starting zone. And if you think you'll be able to do professions, you are kidding yourself. People have to understand that when a server launches and there is no type of population phasing, that you are going to go up against an entire server's population in that one starting area. Now, we didn't have this problem when it came to real Classic WoW back in 2004, because majority of players staggered into the game as it began growing. Now, don't get me wrong, I wasn't there in Classic, but I heard they did have a lot of launch problems, and maybe it was caused by the fact that they had to deal with all of each other. But with the hype of this Classic right now, that will certainly happen again. And if Blizzard doesn't implement this, you will see even more raging on the forums complaining about server lag and spawn timers and whatever it is. Now, I don't think this will kill the community at all. I think it may save players from quitting the game because they are raging about these spawn timers and competing for kills and everything like that. You are still going to see hundreds on thousands of people at launch, but Blizzard is trying the best they can in order to make this as clean as possible. And I guess that's something you gotta give them props for, right? But I think all in all, once again, the most important thing to remember is that this is not permanent. Blizzard has stated that this isn't permanent and it will only be around for a few weeks of launch. And I think that's a little factoid that slipped through the cracks when this information is being relayed through social media and the forums. But I hope this cleared a few things up with everyone about what layering is and how it will affect launch. I'm going to try and get back into the swing of things YouTube-wise as we get closer to that launch date, but we will see how that goes as well. Thank you guys for watching. This is Double T Gaming, and I will hopefully see you next week or so for another video.